Welcome back to the program Power to Unite with Elvira. Andito na po tayo sa part 2 ng ating magandang conversation with Miss Marianne Servaas. Siya po ay isang lay theologian at naging witness po dito sa 51st International Eucharistic Congress na ginaganap sa Cebu City. After listening to her beautiful life, kahit alam po natin na meron pong masaklap nangyari, nakita po natin andun pa rin ang kanyang pagmamahal sa Diyos. Bakit kaya ganun na lang kahalaga ang Eucharist sa kanyang buhay? Bakit para sa kanya hindi siya nawawalan ng pag-asa? Siya po ang subaybayan ninyo sa pagbabalik ng Power to Unite with Elvira.
To allow the Eucharist to be the beating heart of the Church, boy, it is so freeing. It can free us from so much nonsense. Talk about talk, ideology, the many, many words that particularly we as Westerners have become so good at. As to me personally, what I did not expect is that regular participation in the Eucharist daily, as I'm privileged to do, continues to chase away that which remains trapped deep within me, and to strengthen me there where I will always remain broken and limited. Christ is our medicine. He heals by entering us really. And when he comes to us and we allow him in, eventually even sin will run away.
Marianne, thank you so much for sharing with us your beautiful story. You mentioned that you got married, right? Does the hurt that happened to you affects your relationship with your husband, or is he also very understanding?
In terms of my relationship with my husband, he was a source, one of the human beings that God gave to me to help me to come to greater wholeness and more healing. Of course, there were issues related to my background that we had to work through. But God gave him the patience to do that, not the understanding, because that's part of being human. You mentioned it earlier, there's certain things I have experienced that nobody else has experienced, and vice versa. And we need to be careful that we don't think we can understand everyone. We can't. But God has given us brothers and sisters, other people, and particularly prayer. So even though my husband did not understand on a deep level what happens to someone who's being abused, he did pray. He did try all he could to be there for me, and allowed us to go through this together so that it became for our marriage a source of enrichment, of mutual understanding and growth. In that sense, that was God's grace.
He sent you your husband so to show you this is another way of love, another way of strengthening your faith.
Plus, on the other hand, for my husband, it was an opportunity to grow in understanding of what happens in general to people who have a similar background to mine. There's a lot of confusion about this. I remember when I told my brothers eventually what had happened, because they needed to be in the picture, they're my brothers, that my youngest brother at first reacted, "What are you talking about? Years ago this happened." Or that my older brother said, "Yeah, well, now finally my life makes sense too. Now I understand what I always sensed as I was growing up." But then he wanted to talk to me about it, and that too was a way of growing into understanding not only me, but what happens when we hurt people in that very, very deep way. So now, for example, when you hear of scandals happening, people being abused, there is a greater understanding for the victim, as he or she is called.
Yes, yes.
Personally, I do no longer consider myself a victim.
Yeah, you're healed.
I'm healed. Besides,
Yes.
where there's forgiveness, there's freedom. One thing that I also, as I was reflecting on the conversation we were having just a few minutes
Yes.
ago, I felt abandoned, yes, but God never, ever abandons. He's closer to us than we are to ourselves. He's so deeply present. Sometimes he hides from us, yes.
Yes.
Because he knows we can't cope yet with his love or his testing. And yet, he speaks. And he speaks to us in the depth of our being, in our souls, even in our unconscious. He gave me dreams that really, really touched in a way that would not have happened in a conversation, where he made me feel his presence. Not talk about it, not jump from behind the tree and say, boo, no.
Yeah, no, exactly.
But in a very deep, peaceful way. Because
Yes.
at that time, that's what he knew I needed to take the next step. You said I'm courageous, only because he gives me that courage.
Yes, that's true.
I'm just an ordinary human being.
Yes.
But he even gives us the courage to take the next step. And he knows from each one of us how big that step can be, or how high the mountain we need to climb over, or the valley we
Yes.
have to go into. And that gives a tremendous, and again, of trust. He is so completely trustworthy.
Yes. Another thing that I would like, because, sometimes when you're talking, there's tears in your eyes, So I could sense there's still some hurt or joy that is happening within you, This question that I would like, have you forgiven your father?
Completely and fully, yes.
Because if you have forgiven him, then that's it. You are totally healed. I will believe in you that you are totally healed.
Frankly, they are tears of thankfulness.
Yes.
Because God is. With my father, one of the great comforts I also find in our Catholic tradition, for example, there was forgiveness,
Yes.
but there was never reconciliation because he refused.
Okay.
When I confronted him with the past and I told him very clearly, you are forgiven, he did not understand what that meant. He did not understand that he had to come to repentance. He had sorry, but he was more concerned about his reputation. There was no repentance, and there wasn't. He died about 4 years ago now. But one of the great comforts I have personally is there is such a thing as purgatory. I can continue to pray for him. Forgiveness is not limited to this world.
Yes.
And because I can continue to pray for him, even he, who is already dead, can continue by God's grace to grow into coming to a position where reconciliation becomes possible. Yeah.
But what is important, you are the one who got hurt. You are the abuse victim. So what is important, you now feel free, totally
Yes,
free,
I do.
totally healed. And I think you should also say thank you to your father, because without what he has done to you, you might not recognize Jesus at all.
Absolutely.
You know.
The words of a song come to my mind, and it's, Lord, I offer my life to you, and then
Yes.
everything I've been through, use it for your glory. Well, that's what I experienced. Yes, I was abused. Yes, I was hurt.
Yes.
But by God's grace, that has become a gift that has changed me
Yes.
through him
Yes.
to become more joyful, more free than I would have been.
Yes.
Suffering can do that to you.
Yes. Yes.
If there is that relationship with God, if there is the trust in God, he guides you through so that it can be for his glory. And that's even more freeing. And that, in that sense, the tears of thankfulness are there.
Yes, yes.